A rich life is one with few, or better yet, no regrets, and an abundance of financial safety. In a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, the number one regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to live life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And in a consumer affairs survey, the top financial regrets were too much credit card debt and too little savings for emergencies and retirement. But to have no regrets, you have to live life according to your rules while building wealth according to society's rules. So how do you achieve that kind of balance? How do you protect and grow your financial, emotional, physical, and intellectual life? It's more than just following old footsteps. It's about building the strongest foundations that will hold up even when you're thrown over. And here's how. Welcome to Alux, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1, you have to live for today and tomorrow. If you struggle with saving, sticking to a budget, and following your own financial rules, then it's probably because your behavior is influenced by your scarcity mindset. It's as if some alien is controlling your behavior at the moment, not you. And this alien sends the message that if you don't do that now or buy this now, then you're never going to get the chance ever again. To preserve your wealth, you have to make decisions that always align with your long-term goals. You can't make those decisions if this scarcity mindset alien is controlling you and your actions. It makes fighting those impulsive decisions so much harder. You have to constantly remind yourself that life is more than just about YOLOing your way through it. That living to the fullest isn't about being irresponsible, no. And that thinking about your future is just as important as living in the present. Yes, you've got one life, but that life is about today and tomorrow. So you have to make decisions for both timelines. Number 2, you can only win by letting go of your fear of losing. Most people would rather avoid losing $10 than gaining $20. It's called loss aversion. It's an ancient evolutionary trait that we needed for survival at one point, because if you lost your food, you would be done for. But these days, there is enough to go around. So what happens instead is that this psychological bias keeps you clinging on to bad investments and makes you scared to take risks. You can't grow your wealth this way, okay? Growth comes from taking risks. So you have to let go of that fear of losing what you already have. That richer life, it demands you think strategically. Cut ties with things that aren't working for you. Your future self will thank you. Number 3, you have to be proactive, not reactive with your health. Your body is your greatest asset. Without it, your wealth, career, and relationships can't thrive. Most chronic illnesses are because of poor diet, a lack of exercise, and a lot of stress. Did you know the average cost of treating type 2 diabetes can cost more than $16,000 a year? A healthy diet and regular exercise cost a fraction of that. Changing your behavior when you have to is too late. Protecting your wealth means prioritizing your health right now. We talk about the simple and effective things like a balanced diet, regular exercise, and good mental health practices so much because it leads to less stress later on. These are tools to keep you functioning at your best, even during your worst times. It's protecting your health now that will allow you to enjoy the wealth and richness of life that you're working so hard to build. Number 4, you safeguard your assets by knowing where you're vulnerable. Do you know where you're most at risk in your life? Everyone is vulnerable in some way. You have to find out where that is for you and create safety nets to protect yourself and your family. Insurance is key here. Health, life, property, even disability insurance. We know it can be hard parting with that money, especially if you do it month after month when you feel like you don't really need it right now. But the peace of mind you'll have knowing that you have a safety net for the most important things will allow you to soar. This isn't just about surviving a crisis, it's about holding on to control of your life. When the unexpected happens, those with a safety net can make clear-headed decisions, while those without one are forced into desperate acts. Think of insurance as buying yourself time and options in a moment of crisis. Number 5, You merge education, opportunities, and investments. When people talk about their biggest regrets in life, they'll always mention 3 things that you can actually combine to combat. First, they take advantage of great opportunities. Second, they fail to focus on educating themselves in certain spaces, usually because they felt like they didn't belong there. And third, they avoided investing in certain assets because they didn't understand how they worked. Well, you can merge these 3 things to use the opportunities you have available to you, to learn from them and generate an income. And the sponsor of today's video, Masterworks, is the perfect conduit for this merger. First, it's an opportunity for you to invest in fine art, a space that for a long time was reserved for royalty or the mega rich. Masterworks' experts purchase blue-chip art like Banksy, Basquiat, and Warhol paintings and break it down into shares. Investors buy those shares just like you would do with a traditional company on the stock market. When the piece of art sells, the profits are distributed to shareholders. And this is brilliant because 83% of multimillionaire respondents 43 years old and younger told the Bank of America they currently collect art for a slice of their portfolio or would like to. You can educate yourself on the world of art, not just in terms of making money, but also in the messages and pieces of work that are resonating with people. With Masterworks' experts facilitating the buying and selling of your investment, you can learn about the world of fine art without taking the risk of buying into something that you don't fully understand just yet. As you spend time on the platform, you can ask yourself questions like, why are there experts interested in this piece? What does it say about the interests of the world right now? Why do people want to buy this one? What does it say about the message this artwork is conveying? The ability to learn and make money without risking everything because you're still learning is a fantastic opportunity. And you can invest in safe haven assets, investments that will hold strong even when the economy is struggling. Because look, okay, art as an asset class has been outperforming the S&P 500 for over 20 years. And right now, low prices in the art market are demonstrating a rare entry opportunity, and even still, Masterworks recently posted another profitable return from selling a Basquiat painting for $8 million. Investors have realized annualized net returns of 17.6%, 17.8%, and 21.5% from assets held for 1 year. Usually, services like Masterworks have a long wait list, and traditionally only high net worth individuals were approved. But since you're an Alux subscriber, you're getting preferential treatment. Go to masterworks.art/Alux or scan the QR code on screen right now to skip the wait list and start investing in blue chip art today. Number 6. You escape debt by learning to resist instant gratification. Now, the funny thing about instant gratification is, it doesn't matter how much you know it affects you. Now, it's about being able to resist the urge then, when that impulse moment hits. You're good right now, you're motivated, you're watching this video, right? You'll be motivated and determined for the next few hours. But you have to carry this feeling all the way to when that temptation hits you. That is the truly hard part. Studies show that in those tempting moments, just reminding yourself about what's actually pushing you to make the purchase is enough to get you to stop. The top 2 reasons people buy things they don't need is because of stress and not wanting to miss out. That's the scarcity mindset coming back to mess with you. You won't miss out by resisting the urge 1, 2, or 3 times. In fact, you will gain. Keep that mantra in mind, okay? I will gain more later by letting go right now. And it won't feel like sacrificing something is limiting your freedom. Instead, it'll feel like expanding on that freedom for you in the future. Which leads us to our next point. Number 7, you build future wealth with a growth mindset. Raise your hand if you think that your biggest barrier to building your wealth is your current income. We bet many of you have got your hand up in the air right now. Your income barrier is right at the top, right? And if you believe that this is your only reason for not building your wealth, then fixing it is going to be really difficult because, well, the paths are limited. You open up more paths when you dig deeper, when you put control back into your own hands. The biggest barrier to building future wealth is the belief that you're stuck where you are. Because you are not stuck where you are, okay? But the more you stay there, the more you will trap yourself in that belief. Now, most people dismiss the idea of a growth mindset because it sounds like you just have to be positive, right? And that's not what this is about. The majority of self-made wealthy people started from a place of uncertainty, just like many of you, but they didn't allow that uncertainty to stop them. They couldn't. You have to know what your skills, habits, and intelligence can be developed into. And focusing on this development leads you to growing your wealth faster and better than focusing on what you're not getting from your job. You have to be willing to learn. That's how you grow your income. If learning is difficult for you in one area, we'll find a space where it's enjoyable and easier. And there is a space. The human brain craves learning, although not in the same way for everyone, right? A growth mindset says you believe that managing your life is within your hands and capability, and the more you learn in different areas, the more control you give to yourself. Number 8, a rich life comes from sharing your resources. It seems crazy that sharing your resources, giving things away, can actually add more to your pot. That's why so many people hoard what they have. But that's another scarcity lesson, and it's one that people speak about regretting at the end of their life. Generosity is a powerful signal to yourself and others about your relationship with wealth. When you give, whether it's your time, your knowledge, your resources, you prove to yourself that there is enough. This mindset creates what psychologists call the abundance loop. Giving increases your sense of control and security, which reduces financial stress and boosts your life satisfaction. A study from Harvard Business School found that people who spent money on others felt happier than those who spent it on themselves. And beyond that, generosity strengthens relationships and builds trust, which are invaluable assets in your career and business life. Generosity creates practical, measurable benefits. Try it out, okay? You'll see just how good it makes you feel. Number 9, you get more financial confidence by reducing cognitive overload. Mental clutter costs you so much financially. Every day, you're making hundreds of micro decisions: what to buy, where to invest, how much to save, and this constant decision-making wears down your focus on the bigger picture. They call it decision fatigue, and it's one of the greatest enemies of building wealth and appreciating what you already have. You are more likely to make bad decisions later in the day because your mental energy is depleted by that point. That's why people with a high net worth wear the same outfits every day and automate their finances. It's just how they conserve their mental bandwidth. You should be doing the same thing in your own way. It sounds simple, but to protect your wealth, you have to automate your baseline savings and investments. Once you've got your automations in place, you can play around with adding more and moving your money around. But always make sure that you have that automated foundation in place. If you make a mistake, it won't cost you that much. If you want to take a risk, you'll know that you're still covered. If you're stressed and you can't focus on your financial health for the next few weeks, you'll know you've already protected yourself. A part of being disciplined is taking away that need to always be disciplined. Give yourself the chance to make the right decisions without always having to put in so much effort. Number 10, you adapt and thrive by letting go of sunk costs. The sunk cost fallacy is one of the heaviest weights holding people back from protecting and growing their wealth and a richer life. It's a mindset that seeps into every part of your life, not just a bad stock investment or a failing business. No, that fear of cutting ties with someone because of how much you've invested will only push you to invest more and more until you're left with nothing. When you're scared of letting go of something or someone, ask yourself why. Is it because of how much you've already put into this? It's a reasonable fear to have, but there is a point where you have to know that it's not going to get any better. Wealthy people thrive because they know when to quit. They see opportunity costs clearly, understanding that every dollar or hour spent on something unproductive is a dollar or hour that could go towards something better. Jeff Bezos shut down many Amazon ventures early on because they just weren't scalable, even after he invested millions of dollars in them. Cutting your losses isn't always a sign of failure. It's also freeing yourself from what's dragging you down, and that, my friend, is progress, okay? Number 11. Growing your wealth and connecting with nature go hand in hand. Now, these two might sound totally unrelated, right? Billionaires spend most of their time in their offices. But we don't know that, okay? In fact, we've seen many pictures of them on their yachts, having the time of their lives out in the ocean. Look at the estates. They're filled with greenery and gardens. It might not be all manned and landscaped by them, but they sure seem to enjoy it enough. Building your wealth isn't about grinding endlessly. The brain just doesn't work that way. Staring at the same four walls creates a mental fatigue that leads to making bad decisions and increasing impulsive behavior. These things sabotage your financial health even as you're trying to improve it. Connecting with nature, though, is one of the best ways to reset that clutter. It recalibrates your mind to make better decisions. Being in nature grounds you and gives you a clearer idea of your goals and what you're doing to get there. Protecting your wealth starts with protecting your ability to think clearly, and nothing does that better than stepping outside. There's no point in spending all of your time growing your wealth and then not having the mental and emotional energy to enjoy it. So get outside for a little bit, hey Lexer? Go touch some grass. Number 12. Protect generational wealth by planning your estate. Now, the next step of protecting and preserving your wealth is to do the same thing for your legacies. Estate planning might sound like something only the uber rich need to worry about, but that is not the case at all, okay? Everything you've worked for could disappear because of taxes, legal fees, or family disputes. Studies show that 60% of people don't have a will. And without a will, the people you leave behind have to navigate the financial chaos during an already difficult time. As you start building your wealth, think about the legacy you want to leave. How do you want your grandchildren and their children to live? Design a roadmap for them that leaves them financially secure but not totally dependent on the work that you've put in. The decisions you make today can protect your wealth for generations to come, making sure it grows rather than fading away. Number 13. You have to expand your intellectual wealth too. Now, studies on longevity are showing us that as we expand life expectancy, we also have to expand older people's access to education. They want to focus on learning too. It is a lifelong expedition, which means it's something you should be focused on no matter how young or old you are. Don't stop learning after you've finished high school or college. The world is evolving faster than ever, and if you are not learning, you're falling behind. So dive into courses that will help you to feel like you've achieved something at the end. Dedicate your time to something that has a cumulative effect. Reading articles and watching YouTube videos are great for learning, but there isn't always a tailored learning plan there. Specific courses can give you that, and you'll feel so much richer and more fulfilled when you're finished. And if you really want to accumulate valuable knowledge, we've created the only app specifically designed with high-level managers, CEOs, and entrepreneurs in mind, where you can not only get access to content that will make a significant impact on your journey, but also a place where you can measure your progress and receive learning plans tailored to where you currently are and to get you where you want to go in a fraction of the time. The Alux app isn't free or even cheap because we've poured over $1 million into making it a premier resource for you. But for just the cost of one really nice meal at a restaurant, you'll get access to a full year's worth of content, and trust us, okay? The app will pay for itself within the first month. But to sweeten that deal, scan the QR code on screen and you'll get 25% off the annual membership price. We'll see you on the inside. Number 14. Deepen emotional wealth by building stronger relationships. Now, we've been raised to believe that wealth is about independence. And what a mistake that was. The richest lives are built on connection. Relationships, whether with your family, friends, or partners, are the emotional capital that sustains you through life's highs and lows. People with strong connections live longer, happier, healthier lives. So you have to invest your time and energy into the people that matter to you. You need people around you to celebrate the wins and losses and support you during tough times. And those people can only stick around when you make the effort just as much as they do. Investing time and energy into strengthening your relationships pays dividends far beyond what money ever could. And number 15, you might not have it all yet, but you still have to be grateful. Watching other people move through the world with more than you have when you work harder than they do is tough. right? But it's gonna be a long, hard road if that is your default mentality. You will get to where you want eventually, but it's not gonna feel satisfying if you don't remind yourself now of how good you have it. A rich life is a balance of working for more and appreciating where you are right now simultaneously. It can't all be focused on more, and more. That's an empty, unfulfilling state to be in. Think about 3 things that you are proud of right now. Hold them tightly in your thoughts. That's what's going to help you keep pushing forward. And that's all we've got time for today, my friend. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and thank you for including us on your journey. Now, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. How do you protect your wealth to create a richer life? What is something that you regret now that you're working to change? Share your wealth of wisdom in the comments because it enriches the community. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Aluxer. Until then, take care, my friend.